Hi everyone, it's Plesky P here. Of course, I have the fantastic Jude, Southerland, Kessler coming in from Kentucky. That's right, isn't it?
Louisiana, baby.
Is that near Kentucky?
It is not. We are on the Gulf. We are where the good times roll. Nolans and chicory coffee and beignets.
Hey, I've got to
It's the
say,
best.
did you ask me if it's April Fool's Day?
I did, and you fooled me already.
You know why? There's too many fools out there.
But not in the Beatles world. It's all smart people, right?
I also got to say, because you asked me, this is interview number 419. Not that it matters. I'm going to run out of people to interview. I'll be interviewing myself.
Well, I think we can come up with a few more people.
Now, Jude,
can,
tell me if you've seen these in your life. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Okay. These came out in 1967. You paid $1 for each one, right? Mickey Dolenz from the Monkees.
Yeah.
Mike Nesmith from the Monkees. It was you had to actually mail away for them. David
Those are
Jones.
actually excellent. Who did those?
Frank Morton. Peter Talk.
He is excellent. That is phenomenal.
Now I want to do the Beatle quiz with you. All right, you ready for this?
I don't know if I can give you
No,
all the right
you're not
answers.
answering questions.
Okay.
You just got to tell me if you own the item. Okay.
Okay. I'm ready.
Right.
I'm ready.
So it's no quiz. Right. Now, tell me if you have Mary Hopkins, those were the days. The record.
What does it say? Those were the days. I do not. That is awesome. Mary Hopkins.
This
Very
is
cool
Australian.
on the Apple label. She's one of the
this
first
is
Apple
Australian
stars.
and
That
it's
is fun.
Now tell me, have you got the book by Leslie Cavendish, The Cutting Edge? Hairdresser to the Beatles from 1966.
I actually do have Leslie's book, and it is phenomenal. Phenomenal. Have you had him on your show?
Oh, yeah, he's a friend of mine. What about this one? Have you got Tony Barrell's book On the Roof?
No, I do not have that one. I have Ken Mansfield's The Roof.
Okay, I'm still
but I
going,
don't
right?
have Tony.
I'm still going. Have you got this one, Ray Conley's book, John Lennon, being John Lennon?
Yes, I do. I absolutely do have Ray's book. I was very fortunate to be able to interview Ray with Robert Rodriguez. He's a super, and of course he was there, you know.
Have you
I don't
got
have
David
that
Stark's
one. It's
book?
all too much. I do not have that book. Is it
Okay.
good? Have you looked at it?
Do you have this one? Wings Live, Adrian Allen?
I don't have that.
Okay, we're still
I'm not a
going.
huge Wings fan.
We're still going. Have you got Ivor Tours, the Beatles?
Yes, yes.
And
Ivor
me.
Davis, he's a man. He's a man. Of course, I have Ivor's book. Yes,
Okay.
I do. I've read it backwards, forwards, and upside down.
Have you got Adrian Pruitt's book to know John Lennon?
I do have Adrian Pruitt's book, and it
You
is
know,
an excellent book. You're friends with Adrian, aren't
Of course. Can you read the back of
you?
that?
You're friends? Yeah. Let me tell you a funny story about that picture. You
No,
know
I'm
a
talking
funny
about
story?
what's written above it.
Oh, woo! I got to pull my book out. Oh my gosh. There you go. Bravo to you.
Oh,
I
thank
love
you.
it.
I miss this show because I miss
That
you.
Well, it's so much fun. Since you have your glasses on, I have my John Lennon glasses. And I'm
It's very
like,
good of you.
Julia used to wear a pair of glasses and it didn't have glass in them. And when she would talk to people, she'd reach through the glass and scratch her eye like this. And then she'd just keep on talking.
That's great, Jude.
And
Now,
so
today
there's my homage.
we're doing Beatles for Sale. Side one, I'm ready to go. So let's get straight into it. I'm ready to sing.
Mhm. Well, let's set the stage. Beatles for Sale came out during a time when the Beatles were under the most stress that they would probably ever be under until they get to the Get Back, Let It Be days. They had just completed A Hard Day's Night. John had issued his first book in his own right. on the lunch breaks of the making of Hard Day's Night, which went from 6 a.m, hair and makeup, they had to be in hair and makeup by 7. So they had to leave, John had to leave by 6 in order to get there on time. So he's up probably at 5:30. They film all day long. At lunchtime, they do interviews. They go to different places and accept awards. And at night, they go do television shows. And then John goes home, and at 10 o'clock, he starts doing work for all of February and March. Well, part of February, they'll get home to the 22nd. February and March, he's working on in his own right. They go on world tour. They go to Holland and the Netherlands, and then they go to Hong Kong and New Zealand. They are worn out. And somewhere in between that mishmash, 7 days after they finish recording the soundtrack for A Hard Day's Night, 7 days later, they start on Beatles for Sale. That's not a lot of time to create songs and to hone them and to get them ready. They are under immense pressure. So Beatles for Sale did not have a counterpart in the States the way Capitol always had a counterpart. Instead, there was an album that was called Beatles 65, which was the American counterpart. And they are similar in some ways. I'll tell you the 8 songs that they shared in common. The side 1 is almost the same. So on side 1, No Reply opens both the LPs, followed by I'm a Loser, followed by Babies in Black, followed by Rock and Roll Music, So Far So Good, followed by I'll Follow the Sun and Mr. Moonlight. But on the Parlophone, and I'm sure that this is the record that you had, right? Plastic, is this an Australian record as well?
But also got to say, there's an Australian limited edition cover where it's got a photo from the Sydney concert. That's Beatles for Sale with the 4 of them. You haven't seen it, have you?
No, I have not seen that.
That's
I have
right.
not. Well, there's an additional track on side 1 on the Parlophone Beatles for Sale, which is Hey, 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 Kansas City, the medley. And then on side 2, they're completely different, except for 2 songs, which are Honey Don't, Daddy's Trying to Be My Baby. So they're completely different albums. There's no counterpart.
Yep.
There are songs that are on this version that are not on the American version. Buddy Holly's Words of Love and Every Little Thing, I Don't Want to Spoil the Party, 8 Days a Week, and What You're Doing. So this is a completely different, unique album, nothing like the other version. There are 3 firsts that we need to know about when we're talking about Beatles for Sale. And the first thing is that the Beatles intentionally made this into a country and Western LP. They love Carl Perkins. They love Buck Owens. They love the country sound. They always have from the days of Cavern when they were singing Sure Fall by Carl Perkins. And so they intentionally make it a country LP. It's the very first album that has a gatefold cover. And there's this very cool collage of the Beatles on the inside. So what does that mean? It means now they're getting away from doing just a normal album cover and they're starting to get artsy. They're leading us towards Sgt. Pepper and Revolver. They're beginning to get to be the artsy Beatles. And the third thing is, look at their faces, Plastic. Look at that. This is the first time that you'll see.
They're in a park.
Yep.
They're very tired. But let me say to you, we don't have that gatefold sleeve album here in Australia. That's English. I know we got the same soundtrack, but not the same cover.
Not the same cover. How about the expressions on their faces, though? Do you have the same photo?
They're tired.
Yeah, and they're tired. They're worn out. It has been the hottest year ever. And for the first time, you see a crack in the veneer. For the first time, they're starting to look tired, and they should look tired. They had killed themselves. George Martin described them as war weary, and they really, really were. So they're going to go back to the practice on this album. They didn't do this for A Hard Day's Night. Hard Day's Night was all original songs, but they're going to go back to the practice of doing some covers and some originals, partly because they want to do an homage to country songs, and partly because they don't have time. They just don't have time to do all original songs. So that's our background. Are you ready for me to put on my John Lennon glasses and rock and roll?
I'm ready to rock and roll. And the first song, of course, is No Reply.
Sing it, baby.
I know that she saw me when I looked up to see her face. I tried to telephone, said she wasn't home. That's a lie, 'cause I know where she's been. I saw you walking your door.
I nearly died. Bum,
No
bum, bum, bum.
reply. It's great, isn't it?
Bum, 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 bum. It is one of my very favorite songs. This song has the distinction of being the song that I sang to my son to sing him to sleep every night when he was a baby. And when he got old enough to talk, I would try to sing something else and he would say, "No, Mama, sing No Reply, No Reply." That was the song. So this song is the opening track on both LPs, whether you're doing Capitol or Parlophone. It's the opening track. And it's interesting because John starts off with the words, "This happened once before." It has happened once before. All across the world, people have put that album, that vinyl on their turntable. They've lifted the needle and with holding their breath in anticipation, they put it in the grooves and they waited to hear what the Beatles are going to bring them. So it has happened once before. They came to our door and we can't wait to hear it. It's a story that is based on the record Silhouettes. And Silhouettes is a happy song. It's a song about a man who goes for a walk, thinks that he's on his girlfriend's street, thinks he's standing in front of her house, and in the light of the window sees her kissing another man. But then when his heart is breaking, he realizes he's on the wrong block and he's happy and he knows that she still loves him. Well, this song doesn't go quite that way. He is walking, he is going in front of her house, the light is on, but he calls and her mother or someone says she's not home, that there's no reply. And yet he can see the light in her window and he wonders, does she still love him? Or has she, as you know what I'm getting ready to say, as Julia did, has she abandoned him? Has she walked away from him? Has she forgotten him? Well, Dick James, who was their music publisher, told John, "This is the first complete song that you've ever written, the first complete story that you've ever written." And that's not true. It isn't a complete story. We don't know the ending, just like we didn't know the ending in some of John's other songs. We don't know if she really was cheating on him. We don't know if he was mistaken and she wasn't there. Maybe somebody just left the light on in her room. We don't know if they get back together. We don't know if she abandons him. We have no idea. It's like the Beatles' other songs. It leaves us to come up with the ending. And that's the cool part about it, that we come up with an ending. There's one part of this song that everybody should go back and listen to. Go put it on as soon as you hear the show and listen to John sing, "If I were you, I'd realize that I love you more than any other guy, and I'd forgive the lies." It is John. It's that little 4.5-year-old boy whose mother has left him with an aunt to grow up in the house of his aunt, singing to her in the darkness, "You should realize I love you. I love you more than John Dykins, the man that you're living with and that you've fallen in love with. I love you more than anyone else. Why have you left me? I'll forgive you if you'll just come back and get me." It is such a powerful song. And Ian MacDonald, who wrote Revolution in the Head, said, "Listen to this. It is the most powerful phrase in the Beatles songs to date." The most powerful phrase in the Beatles songs to date. It will rip your heart out. You go back and listen to it. Love this song. How do you feel about it, Plastic? Is it one of your favorites or are you only so-so about it?
I got to say something.
How do you feel?
This album, there's two songs that I really love that are stand out for me. "I'm a Loser" to me is the greatest song, and 8 Days a Week is the greatest song to me. They're like two of the greatest for me. But No Reply is actually a different song, as you said, because it starts off the album. I would have preferred "I'm a Loser" at the start of the album, but No Reply is something that you don't expect, and it is a great song. I can say that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, "I'm a Loser" is going to be next. And here's the thing. I think once you understand No Reply and you know the heart of this little boy that is saying to the mother that left him behind for complicated reasons, it's not Julia's fault. Her father was putting immense pressure on her to turn her son over to her older sister, Mimi, who was more responsible. She had huge pressure from her family. But He doesn't understand that. He doesn't know that. And so his heart is broken, and he tells you that. He sets the stage in No Reply. Then he's ready to sing I'm a Loser and I'm not what I appear to be. You know, all the loves I never lost. There's this one girl I should never have crossed. She was a girl in a million. Who is that girl in a million? Julia. You know, I loved her. She didn't love me. I wanted her. She didn't want me. I don't understand why she left me. He's going to sing you I'm a Loser, but first he sings you No Reply, so you'll understand the story, and then he sings this one. John, at the microphones of the world, bemoaned the loss of Julia all of his life. And here's the deal, guys. John didn't grow up with Julia as his mother. By the time he's 4.5, he's living with Mimi. And even before that, he's spending long periods of time at Mimi and George's house because he feels like a fifth wheel with John Dykins around. He gets on the bus with the green seats. He goes to Mimi's house. He stays with Mimi. So he doesn't know Julia as his mother. When she comes back into his life, when he's a teenager, when Uncle George dies and he's 14.5 years old, here's this good-looking, great figure, high heels. She wore 6-inch heels. When men whistled at Julia, she turned and whistled back at them. She wears tight slacks. She flirts with his friends. Look, he is head over heels for this sexy, cool, out of the box, bold woman. He adores her. He worships her. So yes, he has a mad crush on her. And other than being his mother that he lost, he also has a mad crush on her. So this song is about how much he loved her and how she never loved him. And it is a country and western song to go along with all the others on the record. It has these very sad country lyrics. The only thing he doesn't talk about is trucks and getting drunk. But it does have finger picking in it, country finger picking, and it has that great guitar twang. So very much a country and western song. This song, like so many of the others that were on Beatles for Sale, were written after John and the Beatles heard Bob Dylan's Freewheeling, but before John really got to know Robert Zimmerman, got to know Bob Dylan. And where Bob may have encouraged John to keep on writing songs like this that were autobiographical, John had always been writing autobiographical songs. So this wasn't Bob Dylan's idea. If you go back to the Cavern days, he was singing I'm Nobody's Child, so did George, as a cover song. He was singing Baby It's You, about this girl that he wants that nobody thinks is good. He wrote the original Not a Second Time about Julia all before he met Bob Dylan. So Bob Dylan didn't make him write songs like this. He had already been doing it. Great, great song. I'm a Loser. Did you, when this song came out, did you understand why John was singing this? Or were you like me? Did you go, why would John Lennon write a song like this? Did you get it?
I got to say something. For No Reply, I thought he's singing about a girlfriend, a young man that's got a girlfriend.
He is. He's always singing about two things. He is singing a story about a boy that walks in front of a house and sees a girlfriend, but the inner John, the real John, is always singing the same song. He puts it in different iterations. He houses it in different lyrics, but he's always singing about the girl that left him, about the girl that abandoned him. He sings it 1,000 different ways, but it's still the same story over and over and over and over. So it's both. It's like he loved Alice in Wonderland, and you can read Alice in Wonderland as a children's story, or you can read it as a political story. There are two sides to it. So same thing in all of his songs. So can you sing Baby in Black? Yeah, I wore all black today.
Are we doing I'm a Loser now, number 2?
Yeah, we just did.
No, we went through the whole. But now we're up to I'm a Loser. Correct song 2?
I did it. I just did I'm a Loser. I went all through the whole thing.
I didn't get to sing I'm a Loser.
Well, sing it now.
Okay. And I love it how it goes to the chorus straight away. I'm a loser. I'm a loser. And I'm not what I appear to be. Of all these loves I have won or have lost, there is one girl I should never have crossed. She was a girl
See?
in a million, my friend. I should have known
Julia,
she would win in the end. I'm a loser. I
there you
love
go.
it. It's a great song.
It is. And you can see from those words right there, again, you're getting the story of Julia, again. All right, sing Babies in Black.
Oh dear,
Babies in
what
Black.
can we do? Baby's in black and I'm feeling blue. Tell me, oh, what can I do? She thinks of him and so she dresses in black. And oh, she'll never come back. She's dressed in black.
That's it, Babies in Black. This is an old song that John wrote in Hamburg in the spring of 1962. And he puts it aside and they pull it out for Beatles for Sale because they need another song to put in this album because they're trying so hurriedly to get the album out. Old song. And the reason he doesn't use it before is because for him, this is kind of an emotionally embarrassing song because it is about the fact that he fell in love with his soulmate's best girl, with his best friend's fiance. John wanted a girl like his mother. He wanted a girl who was bold, who was independent, who was artistic, who was out of the box. That's the kind of girl John wanted. Cynthia was sweet, kind, loving, gentle, beautiful. She was not that girl. She was a wonderful girl. She's one of my favorite people in the Beatles story, but she wasn't the kind of girl that John was looking for. But Astrid Kircher, Stu's fiance, Stu Sutcliffe's fiance, was that kind of girl. And after Stu died of a cerebral hemorrhage, John and Astrid were together because John had flown into Hamburg with the Beatles to perform at the Star Club, and Stu had died the day before, and he didn't get to say goodbye to him. And Astrid and John console each other, and they're there emotionally for each other. And during this time, he fell even more for Astrid. And the song, because Astrid only wore black from head to toe, always. Her little black ballet shoes, her black smocks, her eggsy smocks, her little black berets. She's very, very always dressed in black. And he fell for her, and so he writes this song for her, and it's an unusual song because it's a Highland song. It's kind of Irish and it's kind of Scottish. In fact, the Scottish bagpipes are heard in the bridge of the song. It's what they call a double jig, which means it's written not in 3/4 time, but in 6/8 time. So it's a double waltz. It's a double jig. That's Irish. And you say, well, this is a country and western record, so how does a double jig fit in there? Well, it fits because this is a kind of country song. This is a country song in Ireland or Scotland. This is an Irish folk or Scottish folk song. So it is a country song, just in a different country. It's very northern England because Liverpool was 83% Irish at this time. It's a beautiful love story of another girl he fell in love with that was never going to love him. She's never going to love him. She's always going to love Stu. So kind of a sad song. I think of her, but she thinks only of him. And it's sad. Babies in Black kind of makes me tear up. All right, you ready to sing?
Exactly.
Are you ready?
Give me the song again.
Rock and roll music.
Oh, that's easy. For this rock and roll music, written by Chuck Berry. Any old time, use it. It's got a backbeat, you can choose it. Any old time, use it. It's got to be rock and roll music if you want to dance with me. If you want to dance with me. And listen, have you seen the cover there of the Beatles for Sale, the Australian version? I don't know if you can see.
Oh, wow.
I'll see if you can see it. Can you see that?
That's completely different. Completely different. Wow.
That's a photo taken at the Sydney Stadium and used for the Australian album cover. How great's that in yellow? Have you ever seen it?
Wow. Yeah, that you understand why John Lennon got mad about these covers, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't this one. He got mad about the With the Beatle ones, the one with the 4 heads.
I know, but I'm saying you can understand why when they put so much thought into what they wanted these things to look like, then all of a sudden there's a completely different cover. That's what he didn't like about the Capitol ones, that Capitol just did whatever the heck they wanted, you know. So you can understand that. But anyway, all right. Chuck Berry. Look, classic. It doesn't get any better than John Lennon doing Chuck Berry. That is as good as it gets. John Lennon doing Chuck Berry. When Chuck Berry does rock and roll music, and if all of our listeners will go back and listen to the Chuck Berry version, ask your Alexa or whoever you have to play Chuck Berry's version for you, you're going to see that Chuck Berry sings it on a very level playing field. It's almost kind of monotone. But when John Lennon sings it, it's raw, it's raspy, it's sexy, it's guttural. He makes rock and roll music. I mean, this is without a doubt quintessential John Lennon. No doubt about it. It was the second biggest cover song for the Beatles. What do you think the number one cover song for the Beatles was? If you had to choose the number one cover song for the Beatles, what would you say it was?
That's actually a hard question. And what album is it from? Tell me that. Is it from Please Please Me?
If you think about, I'm not going to say, if you think about them performing a cover song and it was their go-to song as a cover song, the one
I know which one it is, Twist and Shout.
Amen, brother. Yes, Twist and Shout. But rock and roll music is number two.
Do you know what I got? I got the sheet music to the Beatles, rock and roll music, and it's got a picture with their heads. If you keep talking, I'll see if I can find it. Just continue on. I'll go and see if I got it.
Okay, sounds good. So this is a song that rock and roll music that is their number two. Now they've done other songs, Chuck Berry guys. They've covered Brown Eyed Handsome Man, excellent. Paul can really sing a Chuck Berry song. They've done Maybelline, and John has sung one of my very favorite covers of a Chuck Berry song, Too Much Monkey Business. He can really sing that. But on Beatles for Sale, they've chosen the showstopper, the blockbuster rock and roll music. This is one that they had performed in the Cavern Club, and the girls loved it. They had played it in Hamburg, and so they feel like this song is going to be one that's really going to put them over on Beatles for Sale. Does it fit with the country theme? Sure it does. Chuck Berry is a country boy made good. He is sort of like Buddy Holly. We think of Buddy Holly as a rock and roller, but Buddy Holly's a Texas boy, and he comes out of a country background to emerge as one of the first rock and roll stars. Same thing here with Chuck Berry. In an interview around the release of With Beatles, Paul bemoaned the fact that the Beatles weren't doing what he calls the old songs. He means the cover songs. And he said he'd like to get back to the point where the Beatles were doing cover songs again. And so this is a concession to Paul. They put rock and roll music in the playlist so that the Beatles can get back to doing what they love, which is playing the old songs again. Oh, wow. That is so cool. Wow, I love that. Where did you get that? eBay?
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome.
Look.
That is awesome. I love that. Thank you for getting that out for us to see. Yeah, I was just telling them that they did Brown Eyed Handsome Man, of course, Johnny Be Good, Maybelline. Very cool. Thank you for getting that. All right, it's turn to sing. I'll Follow the Sun.
Yeah, look at the cover of this. I'm going to frame it. I love it that much.
I love it that much too. Do it in a double-sided frame so you can show the back as well. That is so cool. Let's see, John. They usually don't show draw John very well. But
and also, as I said, that's done in shillings and pence. When it was shillings and pence in Australia, 3 shillings and 6 pence.
Wow. Which is how much?
I don't know, but it also says the Chuck Berry album is 7 shillings and 6 pence.
I bet you did not pay 7 shillings 6 pence for
I
it.
didn't have 7 shillings and 6 pence. I didn't understand currency
No.
until 1966 when we went decimal. Anyway, let's go now. I'll follow the
Yeah.
sun.
All right.
One day.
Okay, I'll follow the sun. Do it. Oh, baby.
One day you'll look to see I've gone, for tomorrow may rain, so I'll follow the sun. How's that?
All right. We have finally gotten to a song that isn't sung by John. If you look, we have had no reply. I'm a loser. Babies in Black and rock and roll music. This has been a John Lennon LP. Woohoo! All the way. But now we have finally come to a Paul McCartney song. And what a great song it is. It is one of my very favorite Beatles songs.
I also
you know,
want to show you this, Jude. Jude, before you go, right?
Yeah.
Since I've collected this. Australian Rubber Soul Songbook.
Oh, wow.
And look
I love
inside.
that. Let me see the inside of it.
Hang on, just let me show you this. You've never seen photos of Ringo. This is Ringo in Italy.
That's hilarious.
Do you see
Oh
him
my
doing
gosh.
his toy?
What is he doing?
He's playing
That
guitar.
is
He's coming out of a
those are-
plane. He's doing his toy. And look at
That
this. What a great shot of John. What a great shot of
I
John.
love
I reckon you haven't
That-
seen
that-
these photos.
those are great. Great. Love those.
Now,
Those
check
are
this
great.
out.
John, what is that jacket that John wore that year? He
Check
wore
this
that
out.
jacket to
This
death.
is 1967. Record song collector, 1 shilling when the Monkeys, right? That's a photo from America, but this is when they're coming to England, right? But guess what's on the back of this cover?
What? Let's see. What? What a strange thing. That's odd, isn't it?
How great's that though for
Well,
67?
Yep, that was the year. That was the year that Johnny Rivers sang. Everybody kept on playing Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, and they did.
And that was
Everywhere,
1 shilling.
you know.
That was 1 shilling. 67 in the UK.
You got some
How
good
great's that? I
stuff.
love it that it's got the Monkeys on the front
Yeah.
and the Beatles on the back. And it says the Monkeys are coming.
Awesome. That was designed for you. That's your 2 favorites.
That's it. Check that out.
Very
That's
cool.
a winner.
Very, very.
That, to have any picture
Yeah,
of the Beatles
I
from
love that.
67 when it was actually happening is unbelievable. And I'll let you continue with the song.
That's. I love it. All right, are we going to do I'll Follow the Sun?
Let's go
follow
for
it.
side
Let's
one.
follow it, baby. All right,
Yeah.
Classic. All right, if you listen to I'll Follow the Sun, it's all you need to know about the difference between Paul's childhood and John's childhood. Because Paul grows up with his mother Mary, his father Jim, his brother Mike, in a loving family. And yes, his mother does die when he's a young boy from cancer, from breast cancer, but he still has his father, he still has his brother. He is in a very stable family relationship. So when Paul sings this song about love lost, this is a song about, love being lost, and he's walking away and the relationship is over. It ends hopeful. It ends with him saying, tomorrow may rain, so I'll follow the sun. There's still hope. There's still goodness in the world. When John sings, there's no hope. It's sad. He's been lost. He's been abandoned. He's sad. He's a loser. He's a nowhere man. He's broken. Not Paul. Paul still has a hopeful outlook, and that's the difference. So you say, well, this is a country and Western album. So what does I Follow the Sun, which is a ballad, doing on there? Well, let me ask you this question. What does the cowboy hero always do at the end of every Western?
He rides off into the sunset.
He follows the sun. That's it. That's it. And that's what he's doing here. He's riding off. He's following the sun. They sang this song when they were on the road. It's very touching. It's very poignant. People loved it. And just this thought of that all of us face, that one day the person that didn't love us will look and realize that they shouldn't have hurt us. They shouldn't have walked away. They shouldn't have ruined our lives. That's a universal theme, and people could relate to it. And it was a very, very popular song. Paul wrote the song when he was under the influence of Buddy Holly. And it's very Buddy Holly-esque. And, you know, Buddy's a Texas boy, so that's another country tie. And if you go back and listen to Buddy's Raining Heart, and then you listen to I'll Follow the Sun, you'll see the influence. They were very, very much alike. So, all right, we are down to the last two songs. I want to hear you do John's introduction to Mr. Moonlight. Go, Mr. Moonlight.
Hey, I like Mr. Moonlight, and I also like the original version. I reckon the original version is great. Like it goes, Mr. Moonlight, you came to me one summer night, dun, dun, dun. And from a dream, you sent your beam. And from the world, you sent a girl. Dun, dun, dun. I love it.
I love it. I love it. You even did the intro really well. I didn't know that many people can do that intro well. That's a John thing, you know, but you did a great job. Okay, I want to explain something about this. And people do not get it. So let me explain. Everybody says, oh, Mr. Moonlight, it's dumb, it's stupid, it's schmaltzy, it's a bad song. Why did they include it? Okay, people, here is the scoop. Every band in England in the early 1960s performed Mr. Moonlight. It was a cult classic, and it was a competition. You were supposed to perform Mr. Moonlight better, funnier, okay, schmaltzier and crazier than the band before you. And every band would come up with something nutty and silly to do when they performed Mr. Moonlight. They wanted to make the audience laugh. They wanted to make the audience fall out. They wanted to put on a show. The Swingin' Blue Jeans had a version of Mr. Moonlight that was hilarious. And
I love
then the Beatles decided.
Jeans, but I just want to say, I interviewed Ray, the lead singer of the Swingin' Blue Jeans. I love him, but let me tell you, the original version is by a band called Dr. Feelgood and the Interns in 1962.
Yep.
So everyone knows.
Yes, that's exactly right. And that song caught on, not so much with the fans, I don't know, understood what the bands were doing, but the bands all knew what they were doing. They were competing against each other. So the Beatles decided what they were going to do with it is they were going to make it very tongue-in-cheek. They were going to make it sound like a Latin number, kind of a Latin number. And they were going to throw in this real heavy Hammond organ, like real schmaltzy. They were going to schmaltz it up and make it kind of cheesy. And one of the reviewers, I think it may have been Tim Riley in his book, said gold made ghastliness. And exactly what they wanted it to be. They wanted it to be real schmaltzy. But the one thing that isn't schmaltzy about this song, the one thing that is incredible, off the charts, amazing, is John Lennon's opening Mr. Moonlight. When he sings that, he just rips it out. And it is rated as one of the top 10 sounds by the Beatles. So it is amazing. Ooh, what do you got there?
Have you ever seen a picture where it says the Shea Stadium with the Beatles on it? Have you ever seen that?
Oh, that's amazing. There it is, the Shea Stadium. Wow. Coming up in August of 1965. It was quite the night. Yeah, a hot August night. Mr. Moonlight, baby. Let me say this about Mr. Moonlight. The other Beatles were iffy about having Mr. Moonlight on this record because it isn't really country and Western. But John put his foot down and said, we are having Mr. Moonlight on this record. Period. End of story. And I'm not hearing anything else about it. You know why he did that? You know why he said they were having it? because girls loved it. He was sick of Paul being called the cute Beatle. He was sick of Paul getting more fan mail than he did. He was burned up about the fact that he wasn't considered the sexy Beatle. So he had it. That's right. He wanted girls.
He had it for the girls.
He did it for the girls. So he had it put on there and girls loved it. I love it. I love Mr. Moonlight. Shall we do the last song?
Yeah, and he was nowhere man. He was nowhere.
He was nowhere man. He may think he was, but he was nowhere man me. All
exactly.
right.
Now the last song.
Hey,
Let's get into the last song.
Do it. Sing it. Kansas City.
I'm going to Kansas City.
Hey.
Gonna see my baby back home. Yeah. I'm going to Kansas City. Gonna see my baby back home. It's just a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Woo!
All right. For Kansas City, I'm putting on my Julia glasses. I'm going to scratch my eye the way she did. All right. Here's the story about Kansas City. In 1964, on the North American tour, baseball owner Charlie O. Finley comes to the Beatles and he says, you overlook Kansas City on the tour. I want you to come to my town and I want you to play Kansas City.
And I want to say, he got him for
$150,000.
You got him for $150,000.
Yes, he did. He starts and then he goes up to 100 and then he goes up to 150. Finally, when he gets $150,000, John says, all right, we'll do it. That's fine. So the day of the concert, they're getting ready to go on the stage and Charlie Finley, Chuck, as John called him, comes up to John and he says, listen, will you do me a favor? Will you play 2 extra songs in this concert? Because I paid so much for you. And John said, no, we always do the same playlist. No. And he goes, but I paid so much money for you. Can't you just play 2 extra songs? And John says, no. And Finley grabs him and says, I paid $150,000 for you boys. Can you not play 2 extra songs? And John looked at him and went, you shouldn't have paid so much money for us, Chuck, and walks off. But what does he do when he gets on the stage? He adds Kansas City and Hey, 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 Hey. They add the 2 extra songs. And of course, the crowd loved it because this is their theme song, the Kansas City song. The Beatles had heard Little Richard, which was his arrangement, do this song when they performed with him in Hamburg in April of 1962. This is right after Stu died, when they had that gig that we talked about a minute ago. They also heard it at the Tower Ballroom in New Brighton when they performed with Little Richard, and they loved the way Little Richard did it. So they do the Little Richard version, and it is a rocker, and it worked that night in Kansas City, and it works as the pot-boiling closer of side 1. And there we are, Beatles for Sale, side 1, done, done, and done.
Hey, 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 I'm going to Kansas City, gonna get my baby back home. Yeah. I gotta say, Jude, you're a groove. I can't wait for side 2. And it's just a fantastic show that we do. So we can't wait, everybody, for side 2. Thank you for watching today with Jude, Southern Kessler, and myself coming out to you live.
And buy the John Lennon series. Get out there and get those books. We've got just a few copies of this book left. So get out there and get it.
Where can they buy it from, Jude? Where can they buy it from?
JohnLennonSeries.com.
Thanks, Jude. What a great show. Thanks again.